believe deeply, is that our life, any death we experience, and eternal life is all about fruit. It's all about fruit. It's all about the fruit of our lives, how what we have received we pass on to others. How others receive that life through us. Last fall at the All Church Conference, I put forth what I believe is something of an inspiration from God about where we're going. And we talked about this as our 2020 vision. Part of what I realized is 2020 is too far out. We can't grasp what's going to go on in 8 years from now. So part of what I've been thinking about is, what does that mean for us to bear fruit now? Because part of what I worry about is if we have this goal that's too far out and we can't grasp it, that we'll wait till 2019 and start to ask the question, okay, how are we doing on our vision? What are we going to do now that helps us to bear fruit? That's the question I've been really pondering. And how do I communicate? How do I help us to communicate about what our purpose is? Friends, our ultimate purpose that I feel God calling us to is to multiply our impact. That we, as Christians, are called to multiply what we do. That, in fact, being the church means the church has always been designed to multiply exponentially. It never was meant to just stay the same. It was never meant to just grow, one person per year. It was meant to grow exponentially. As people are growing in their faith and sharing that life gets passed on to others, and communities of faith grow exponentially. But multiply our impact, what does that mean? That's kind of esoteric and hard to grab as well. So friends, here's what we're going to do. By our all-church conference 2 years from now, fall of 2014, we will double our worship attendance. We will double our worship attendance by 2014, 2 years from now. Now, you have to imagine what that's going to be like. We might have 2 or maybe 3 services on Sunday morning. Our Sunday night service probably has room to double or even triple in its space and at its time. I want you to imagine what it's going to feel like to look around and see the life and the vitality and the energy in this place as people know that they're getting engaged and becoming a part of a movement, and a movement not of our own creating, but a movement that God is doing with us. And I know we're going to succeed. Do you not want to know why I know we're going to succeed? We're going to succeed because I already see it happening. There are places in our community of faith that have more than doubled in the last year. Our marimba band is one place. The marimba band has more than doubled in less than a year. You might ask, well, how did they do that? What happened was the people in that group were passionate about what they're doing in the marimba band. They began to take it to the places that they work, to a nursing home and to a school. And when they went to the school, kids wanted to be involved in the marimba band. So kids started coming to a practice. They set up another practice, a separate practice for kids to come and practice. And when they do their devotional time, before the marimba actually has a chance to play, there are kids engaged in that group, but there are also 2 or 3 or 4 parents in the sanctuary sitting there and listening. And there's 2 or 3 other little brothers and sisters that are milling about the sanctuary, listening to what's happening here. I know we're going to succeed because I already see it happen. There are other places that have more than doubled in my time here. The other way that I know we're going to succeed, the other place that I already see it happening, is I've looked at the history of Covenant United Methodist Church. And about the first 10 or 15 years of this church's existence, we more than doubled many times over. We grew exponentially those first 10 or 15 years. It's part of our DNA. It's part of who we are. And in the last year, we've grown 5 or 10%. We're not a stagnant place. We're not sitting on our hands waiting for something to happen to us. I know we're going to succeed, partly because I see it already happening, but partly because I know who's here. I've been your pastor for 3 years. This is a place filled with people who are creative and passionate and and innovative and have a desire to have their life extend beyond our own life. This is a place filled with people who knows it's not about us. It is not about us. So you might ask yourself the question, okay, so doubling worship attendance. Okay, go to it, Pastor Gregg. This is just a sign of what's going to be happening. You might ask yourself the question, what am I going to do? How do I help have that happen? How do I help this to happen in this particular community of faith? Because it's going to require modifications and changes in our behaviors, in our patterns, in the ways that we interact as the community of faith. We're going to have to grow in our ability to share our faith in words and actions. We're going to have to grow in our ability to invite others to be a part of something. So when you ask me, what are we going to do? I'll say, in order to double worship attendance, we need to double everything. We need to double everything that we do. You might start by choosing to double something. Double one thing that you do. Now we talk about the life of the church having three movements. That we gather, we grow, and then we give our lives away. That's what we do in the life of faith. We gather, we grow, and we give our lives away. Maybe you're going to commit to one thing in one of those areas. Now the other thing is I know that we have people in a lot of different places. There might be people who are here with us today who, for one reason or another, life has swept our legs out from under us. That we're coming and we need to hear a message of healing and comfort. And for folks who are in this situation, I hope and pray that every time we gather, we experience that healing, health, and wholeness, that we grow in that. For folks who are in that place, you're not worried about worship attendance, you're worried about holding your life together. Maybe your commitment to gather is to say, well, I go to church once a month now, maybe I'll commit to going twice per month. If I open my Bible once per week, maybe I'll commit to opening it twice next week. If I pray intentionally for 5 minutes, what if I intentionally set aside 10 minutes to pray per day? Double something. We can all double something. Now, for others of us, we might be looking for ways to engage, that we want to be a part of this movement. For us, that commitment might look differently. Our commitment to gather might be, gosh, I think I invited 3 people last year to come to worship with me at Covenant United Methodist Church. Maybe this year, I'll invite 6 people. And I'll tell somebody else that I'm going to invite 6 people so they can hold my feet to the fire. Maybe I'll commit to being a part of a life group. Maybe I'll commit to being a part of a life group for 2 terms this year instead of just 1. Every one of us can make a commitment to do something, to double something that we do. If you ask me what we need to do in order to double worship attendance, that's just a sign of the life that we want to have be a part of this community of faith. To do that, we've got to double everything, or something, or one thing. It's going to be hard work. It is going to be hard work. And we are going to have our times where we feel like a failure. I'm going to have my times where I feel like a failure, where I'm not growing in my ability to share my faith or invite people to be a part of what we're doing. But we're going to learn a lot. We're going to learn a lot about each other. We're going to learn a lot about our neighbor. We're going to learn a lot about ourselves. And we are going to grow in our ability to bear fruit, because that's what it's all about. It is all about bearing fruit. And when I have an opportunity to stand in front of you 2 years from now, I don't know what these 2 years are going to look like. I know where we are now, and I know what that's going to look like. And it's going to be amazing to experience the life and the vitality of this community of faith. But to get there, we're going to have to be grounded in the fact that what we do in life echoes